My name is Talo.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
How long have you been with the agency?
3 years ago.
Have you been to any of our socials before?
Yes, I have been sometimes.
Did you like any of the guys you met so far? Anything good came out of those socials?
Yes, of course. I like guys, very interesting man, and I like to speak with foreign men and know another country, and I want to see my love.
Yes, that's all about it. Finding love, guys. So if you would compare all the socials that we had before that, before pandemic and now, have you noticed any difference?
Yes, I see little difference, but it's only plus, not bad, only good.
That's good to hear, guys.
I see interesting people, I see interesting men and young men too.
Yeah, it's a crowd getting younger. We have a very diverse group this time. No, actually we always do, but this time especially we have a lot of wonderful guys coming to Ukraine and meeting those special ladies. So if maybe your future husband is watching this video right now, there's something you'd like to say to him?
Yes, I want kind man. I want happy man, because if he happy, he can be happy me, and we good the couple together and maybe traveling, maybe working together and be happy family and maybe child.
Sounds good, guys. So don't wait. Come over to Nikolaev and meet the lovely ladies of Ukraine. Now we're joined by our interpreter, Tatiana. So I just would like to talk to her about her experience with the socials. We usually interview women. I decided it would be interesting for you just to hear feedback from an interpreter, from her side of, her side of the story.
Because it's my 5th time during the social, and I see some guys who came here before, and now they became really smarter. Now most of them, they don't show their photos all the time. They would like to show their inner world. They communicate more. They are more open, and really their communication became cooler. I think that they like this atmosphere. And tables, they're divided like different age. You can come to any table and you can choose any girl that you would like. And if the girl likes you, I think that most girls, they enjoy being here. So everything is great.
Yeah, we have this beautiful venue right on the river. So right now we're sitting here at the stable outside, and there's a beautiful sunset overlooking the river. It's just amazing, guys. And there's a patio. I see couples talking there right now. So it's all great. Would you give any advice to the guys who would come to the socials in the future?
Just don't be shy. It's my first advice. And just try your luck. Go and have a date, and we will help you anytime.
Absolutely, we have such wonderful interpreters. As you can tell, you'll have one interpreter assigned to you. She'll be walking with you from table to table, introducing you to different ladies. So just talk to them, diversify. Maybe you have certain criteria in mind what you're looking for, but it's not going to hurt just to talk to people and get to know people and see where life takes you to. But anything else you'd like to add to our guys?
Just keep your
yes.
just enjoy moments, keep this in your memory, and make these moments.
Just relax, enjoy, and come here. The worst. Yes, you're gonna enjoy it. It's beautiful here, guys. Well, until next time, thank you for watching.
About 9?
About 9 years? That?
8 or
Oh
9
my
years
God.
now, yes.
All right, so
Time flies.
about 9 years or so, and you've been over how many times now to the Ukraine?
26.
26 times.
But who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting? That's amazing. You were just there. You kind of went on your own just
Went
to do
there,
your
yeah.
own thing.
Yeah, I did my own thing back in June. That
How was it?
fun. That
Was it
was
good?
fun. It was relaxing. Went to a few different cities.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, and Joe will be the tour leader for the September tours going to Kyiv, Kharkov, and then Odessa, Nikolaev. So he's the man. He'll be the one that will make or break your tour. So be nice to Joe, okay? You get in trouble. Actually, Joe does a great job. He gives a lot of great advice, as do all the staff. I can't say enough about our staff. Look, these guys work their butts off. We have a tour going on right now in Colombia. Congratulations, guys, while you guys are on that tour right now. Woohoo! They just had their socials over the weekend, and that was in Barranquilla, and it's going to now move on to Medellin, where they'll do the socials this coming weekend. And those guys work so hard to do everything that they need to do to make it happen for you. A lot of times, the guys go over and they just sometimes think that this all just magically appears. And, there's just a room full of women, and that just happens every day. And it doesn't just happen every day. It's a lot of work. And I just want to give a shout out to all the men and women, especially women, because we have more women than men that are working with us in all the different countries. But they do an amazing job. Wouldn't you agree?
Maria does an incredible job. I got to meet Maria
Right, Maria.
a year and a half ago.
She does a great job in Colombia. Yeah, Victoria,
Victorian.
Helen, Anna, Lena. I mean, all the different women. You go to Peru with Sarah, Gustavo in Costa Rica, all over. I know we're missing people here. We can't name everybody, but you guys have been with us for so long. Many of you have been with us for well over 15 years, some 20 years. And, I think it's wonderful that you can do the things you do, help the men navigate all the different things they have to navigate when they're on one of these tours, because it is so unique, it is so
A
different.
lot of things happening behind the scenes.
Tons of things happening behind the scenes.
Yes.
And Joe knows that because he's going to be behind the scenes in just about a month or so, right? You're going to be over there.
Kyiv sold out.
Kyiv is sold out. And I've been warning you guys. Some of you guys call and then you get a little upset because it's sold out. But because of what's going on this year, we knew these tours are going to sell out. And even when things like this aren't going on, the Kiev tour very often will sell out because it's very popular. But there are a couple spots left for the Odessa tour.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you
Think
want to
two.
get on Odessa Nikolaev, jump on that. But guys, I'm telling you, those spots won't last. So jump on it like tomorrow. At least get your $475 deposit on if that's something you think you might want to do. And go on the tour with Joe. You'll have great fun. It'll be wonderful. But congrats to all you guys that actually went. I think it's wonderful. Now, I want to talk about something that is a little sad, right? You know, one of the really cool things about doing what we've done for the last 26 years is that we've been able to build this amazing community. It's like this family,
yes.
right? And you stay in touch with tons of guys if you met over the last 9 years at the tours and everything.
Yeah, still, yeah.
And I stay in touch with many of the men, and it's an amazing community. And that's a great thing. The not so great thing is that every once in a while you lose somebody from that community. And unfortunately, over the weekend, that happened with one of, just a very special guy who's a great friend of a foreign affair, who actually met and married his wife from a foreign affair in the Philippines. And his name is Richard Faith. And if you guys are out there listening right now, many of you know about Richard because Richard would often come in on the shows and let us know how he's doing in the Philippines. And he also goes often on the Wednesday night show, which is the Philippines, right? So he goes on there quite a bit. And, you know, it's just so sad when I got that call from Ernest, because Ernest had met Richard on one of the tours, and Ernest was actually FaceTiming his wife, Rosalind, when this happened. And it was just a chronic condition that he had. And unfortunately, he passed away from it. And then Ernest called me, and you know, it's just awful. And Ernest and him became really good friends, as many of you do from the tours.
Oh yeah.
And he was really shooken up over the weekend with this news as well. You know, and look, I don't want this show to be, you know, sad or depressing. And I'll tell you, Richard was one of the most amazing guys I've ever had the opportunity and the pleasure to get to know and to assist. And one thing about Richard was his attitude. That man had one of the best attitudes that I've ever seen in a guy. And I think that attitude served him well, because he was able to meet the woman of his dreams and marry her in the Philippines. He went on our tour, not this last March, but the March before that, March 2019, was it, I guess? No, March 2020 wasn't this last March, but the March 2020.
Yeah, 19. It would have been 19, because 2020 was a wash pretty much.
No, that was the last one we did. It was March 2020,
okay.
yeah. So that was the tour he was on. And he was able to, because that was the very last one we did. That was when everything started happening with COVID.
Okay.
And he met Rosalind there during that tour, and he ended up staying there when all the other guys left. And because of the pandemic, he kind of got stuck there a little bit. But then he ended up marrying her there. And they got married, and he's been living there ever since. But I'll tell you, you know, I met Richard here in Phoenix. He flew in to meet with us, and I remember picking him up at the airport. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I just, the smile on that guy's face, and we talked for hours about what he wanted to do and everything. He was so excited about it, and then he was able to do it. And he did it because of that attitude that he had, that perseverance, and just that happy-go-lucky attitude. I don't think once did I ever hear him complain about anything. And he was legally blind, okay? I mean, he had obstacles. He had a chronic health condition. He was legally blind, and he still was able to go through everything and make it happen. And guys, there's a lesson in that. There's a lesson about attitude, about how you're going to view things, how you're going to view life, how you're going to deal with obstacles, because we're all going to encounter obstacles. And you have to, I don't know, I think that's what I want to take away from this, is that I was lucky enough to know Richard, and I saw that in him. And for me, I think I'll always remember him that way, and I've learned from him about attitude, about perseverance, and about overcoming obstacles, which he did. And to his credit, he was able to meet his wife in the Philippines. So we have... And I know you guys were amazing with what we just did with Dave and Nina and the GoFundMe account that we did there. But for any of you, because some of you know Richard because of all the comments and everything that he's made, and so we thought that we would put up a GoFundMe page for a memorial for him. There are going to be some expenses with, you know, dealing with this death that his wife is going to have to go through, and we'd like to help in some way. And of course, the Foreign Affairs pitching in, and then if any of you want to pitch in, I was asked by a couple guys to do this, so that's why we're doing it. Don't feel like you have to, but if anybody wants to pitch in a little something, we do have a GoFundMe page up there. I think it's going to be on the screen here anytime, and it will tell you where to go. I do believe. Is it there? Yeah, there's a description there that you'll see. So, guys, on the page you'll see it. We'll put it up on the website tomorrow too. When you log in, you'll see it there as well. And I'm sure whatever you would like to contribute, if you've known Richard, please feel free to do so. And I'm sure that his widow now would be quite thankful for that. Okay, that's what it is. You know, what happens when you develop this large community like we've developed? You're going to lose people from time to time in that community. It seems like this year we've lost more than our share. And not just from COVID, but from other things as well. It's just been a kind of a strange year, and it's sad when that happens because some of these guys were so great and had such good relationships with them. It's just sad to see that, but you know, it's life. That's part of life. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's get to some of the questions because, guys, this show is about you, right? We've been doing this for 20-some years with the forums and everything, and it is about you, and we want you to have any of your questions answered. Joe here has been over 26 times. I mean, you might start rivaling me for a number of socials. I mean, yeah. So,
Oh, no. Not even close.
Yeah, but he's been, and so between the two of us, I do believe that we can answer most of your questions. So we'll start getting your questions, and I'm sorry. One thing that before we get to your questions, there is one thing that I'd like to do, which totally slipped my mind. We did put together a little video of Richard, and but some of you guys might not quite remember him. Maybe this video will help you to recall what he was like. So we're going to show this video. It's about 2 minutes or so of Richard. So.
What can you say to those guys who are before the same with you, who are looking for a Filipino wife?
Patience is one thing. Just be yourself. Be open and honest. Like when Rosalind and I went for our first meeting, I was open and honest and everything. And she knew I was military, but she didn't know I did 2 combat tours in Iraq. And I explained to her where I was and stationed. You know, we talked, and then we went on a date for a meal there at the waterfront. With me, it was a little different because, like I said, with the challenges that I have with my sight and stuff, I left it to the matchmakers.
And I know for sure that you are now in a happy place.
I didn't give up. I didn't give up. That's the thing. If you have a setback, don't ever give up. You know, things happen.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Just keep trying. Just don't give up.
Yes, that's great to that's great to advise to everyone, guys. So you hear Richard, don't give up and stay patient. Thank you so much, Richard, and stay safe.
All right.
Thank you, Richard.
See what I mean, guys, about that? I mean, it's that
attitude.
perseverance. It's
Bye-bye.
attitude. I know.
You know, I've seen, you know, guys, you know, good-looking guys. You know, I thought they would have no problem, but you know, for one reason or another, their attitude and body language shows that too. You know, when your attitude's not right, and the women see that, it can make or break your tour. It really can.
And you saw him in those social settings, and he had that smile on his face. He was confident. He's blind, but he was out there doing really well. He didn't let that stop him. I love that about him. I really do. And you saw what he said. He said, "Never give up," and he didn't, and he was successful. That's a great lesson in that, guys. Take that. You know, that's a gift. So, yeah.
Right.
Thanks for putting that together, guys. Appreciate that. All right, Ernie says, good evening, John and Joe. Well, good evening, Ernie. Let's get to Leo here. Leo goes way back. Leo goes back to the St. Petersburg days, and he's going with us again. But Leo is a great guy, too, part of the AFA community, been around for a long time. Really good guy. Leo, if you're out there, I know you are because you're asking questions. Hey.
I don't even go that far back.
No, you don't even go back to the St. Petersburg days. He goes way back when we were at Hollywood Nights. He knows. You know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might know, too. The old days there, yeah. in the 90s. All right, Leo says, I'm attending the September 2021 Southern Ukraine tour. Will there be speed dating tables set up for Odessa as well as Nikolaev?
Oh, yes. Well, there's no speed dating in Odessa. Odessa is just normal social. And guys, the way the social's structured is on every social, as you know, John, the first 2 hours, we have the music down so the guys can get around, they can talk, they don't have to yell across the table. You know, they can hear what each other is saying. So, guys, first 2 hours, music is way down. Second, the last 2 hours, of course, we bring the music up. And the reason for that is, you know, is we got to keep the women there. Yeah. And they love to dance. All right? So, normal social runs like that in Odessa. In Nikolaev, we do sometimes do the speed dating for the first 2 hours. And the way that works is we will have, we'll send a guy to each table. Each table has a number on it. And then we'll have somebody take the mic and say, okay, you got 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes, they'll tell you to move to the next table.
Right.
And we have a lot of guys who actually like that because they get to meet every single woman. You're kind of almost forced to meet every single woman. But after 2 hours, of course, you can go right back to whatever table you want. And, you know, if you had a special bond with somebody special, then that's fine. So, yes, so we might have it in Nikolaev. Definitely not Odessa, though.
And guys, do me a favor and pay attention to what's going on and go along with the program. Yes. We're doing the tours right now in Colombia. As I said, we just did the socials in Barranquilla. We do have a speed dating style format there. And one of the gentlemen's like, no, I'm just going to stay at this table because I'm in love with this woman. I don't want to go anywhere else. And we had to get a crane in there to extricate him from the table to another table. It's in your own best interest to move around as much as possible, meet as many different women as possible. We've been doing this for 26 years now. We kind of have an idea of what the best thing to do is for the men and the women to have the best chance of success in meeting. And one of those is to move around and talk with everybody. So listen to what Joe's going to say when he's over there, and he'll help you. All right?
No, it does work out. I don't see an issue with it at all. I mean, we've had the odd guy, like you said, don't want to move.
Right.
Because he's met someone and she's the one.
Oh, absolutely.
She is the one. And
it just happens in Colombia. I was in Colombia when I had a man who would not move, and it was hilarious. Every time I came to the table, he was like, oh, John, I moved. I said, no, you didn't. You were at the same table the last 2 or 3 rotations. Oh, no, I'm going to start taking pictures of you. I know you've been at this table. He was hilarious. He was really funny. And, you know, the woman really wasn't interested in him. There was like a 40-year age difference. It wasn't going to happen. And I wanted him to move to meet someone that was going to be a little bit more age appropriate, a little bit more that was going to work for him, because I knew that wasn't going to work anyway. And she knew, everybody knew, except him.
So that's Leo.
That's Leo.
I'll be meeting Leo. All right, Leo.
Leo's a cool guy. You're going to like Leo. He's like a merchant marine. So, yeah, and you got a little bit of that in you.
Well,
Navy. Yeah, so you guys will get along well. Leo wants to know, do we meet our interpreter the day of the social or the day before?
Well, in Odessa, they will actually get to meet at the orientation. They get to meet. Most of the translators get to come, because you got to remember, some of them do have other jobs,
right? So
they can't make it. But yeah, most of them will actually get to meet their translators the day before. For Nikolaev, though. Nikolaev, you get to meet the actual the translators before the social. They'll meet you at the hotel.
And what happens when you meet, Joe? Tell the guys a little bit of the process. So, I mean, what is that purpose of that translator matchmaker really?
You know, that's your time to talk to these translators. What we like to try to do is we like to match up the more veteran translators with the newer guys. Okay. So they've been to the socials before. They can better guide them. You know, sometimes a guy will ask him, hey, use her as your Girl Friday, we tell him.
Right.
So if there's a particular woman that he kind of likes, he wants blonde, he wants brunette, he wants them around 30, he wants them around 40, no kids, with kids. Tell this to your translator, because they've been to the socials before. They might know somebody who fits that perfectly.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Okay.
But it's to get to know the translator, so she's not a complete stranger when you show up at the social. That's kind of, you know, it's a little bit uncomfortable with some people, but if you get to know them, you get to talk to them for a little bit, before the social, it helps.
Absolutely. And guys, if you ever feel like it's not a good match with you and that particular interpreter or matchmaker, you go talk to Joe and say, you know what, we just aren't meshing well. Is there a way we can switch? And Joe will take care of it.
Yeah, we've had that a couple of times, and we just changed, we have spare.
We have a spare. Don't worry, we have a spare. We'll take care of it.
We'll change them out, and it's not a knock on the translator.
No, sometimes there's a chemistry between the men and the women. There's chemistry between you and your interpreter. I mean, and some will work better with others. I mean, it's just how it is, right? So, like anything in life. I'm telling you guys, one thing you got to remember, this is real, right? And there's going to be good, bad, and ugly. There's going to be all kinds of things going on. We don't just put everybody in a room and try to make sure that everybody is going to treat you just perfectly. It's real life, and you want it to be real life. That's why I keep trying to tell guys when they go over is that there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be good, bad, and ugly, and you might meet an interpreter who you don't like so much. Okay, that's fine. You go talk to the staff, and they'll help you with that, because you want this to be real. You don't want this to be Disneyland for men. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't keep it to yourself. If there's an issue, make sure you let us know.
Because Joe, he's in pretty good shape, but he's not quite Superman. He can't turn the world around and reverse time after the social. If you had a bad time, you tell him afterwards. So tell him during, and you can make something happen.
That's exactly right.
Now he's going to be mad at me for saying he's not Superman, but
it's so true about how that's one thing I tell the guys at the orientation. Hey, if there's an issue, bring it to our attention ASAP. Don't wait until the next day. There's nothing I can do.
Or a week, or a month, or a year. Yeah, do it now. All right. James has a very interesting question. James, I think I've never heard this question before. It's very unique, and I don't say that often, having done this for 26 years. So here it goes. This is a very unique question. So, James wants to know, what is the deal with toilet paper flushing in the Ukraine? I was searching the distance and time to travel between Kyiv and Lviv when I saw a statement that flushing toilet paper in Ukraine is not allowed. Very interesting. Joe, I'll let you deal with this one.
I've never heard that.
Never heard that either. But it must be true because it was on the internet. So.
I flush my toilet paper. In fact, not too many people know this, I actually bring my own toilet paper.
Oh, God, I wish I just didn't have to hear that.
Hey, I'm sorry.
You're bringing your own toilet paper.
This is not a plug for Charmin, but I like Charmin toilet paper. So I bring a roll. Because some of the hotels don't have very good. Because I'm sensitive down there.
You're right. Okay, that was a question I never heard before. That was a response I had never heard before. It was very interesting.
I'm trying to keep things.
Yes, I like that.
But I do flush it. Yes, you can flush it, James. Trust me.
Flush it.
Flush it, please.
If it's yellow, let it mellow. Otherwise,
because I do not want you bringing that down to the hospitality suite and saying, "What do I do with this?"
I think they do have bidets over there on some of them, but I don't know. All right. Tim wants to know, I'm currently setting up my Euroclub trip to Odessa. Congratulations, Tim.
Yeah, that should be fun.
I received a letter from a lady that stated she was from Odessa, but after a few letters, she's actually in another country. What's up? A work visa? I have no idea. I mean, like I said, these are real people, so they could be in another country.
Job?
Job, whatever she's doing. She could be living in Odessa, right? And she could be on vacation in another country. She could be visiting. I don't know. You need to ask her what's going on, Tim, but I really don't know. But if she's not going to be there while you're there, there's many other women that you can meet. But and now, more than ever, it's a lot easier for these women to travel to other countries. They don't need a visa to go to most Western European countries. They can go to France, Italy, all these countries on their passport. Yeah. All right. But Tim, I think it's wonderful you're going. You're going to have a wonderful time. Keep a good attitude, as Richard was
listen to that
preaching.
Office staff.
Yeah. Ernie says, we did this already. Good evening, Jesse. Hello from Los Angeles, California, everyone. Sean says, do most guys find someone they like right away? Well, gee, Joe, why don't you share your opinion on that?
A lot of guys do. Mm-hmm. And we run into this every single tour. Every tour, first city, bam, Odessa. I met the one, Joe. I met the one. I'm not going on to Nikolai. Mm-hmm. And you've done this too. We'll try to talk you out of it. We'll try to talk you out of staying and to at least go on to the next city, You know, and if it doesn't work out, we'll get them back there to that girl. But you owe it to yourself to actually explore all options. You know.
Well, let me read this other question from Patrick, because actually this is more like a statement, but it rolls into what you're saying right now. And I just spoke with Patrick today on the phone, actually. Patrick is so cool, and he sent a tour survey back in and gave a great remarks and had a lot of things to say. And a lot of it was really constructive, and I really thanked him for that. We love it when you guys do that. But he had a great time. But he's saying right now, and we talked about this a little bit today, because I asked him if he saw the twins, and he said no. But he says it's so strange watching these videos of the tour you just went on. So many women at the socials that I never saw when I was there. And I would have liked to, and he put would in capital letters. Oh, they're the twins, by the way, that he never saw. So we'll talk about that, Joe. I mean, and yeah.
Every tour when I come back and I see Kurt, you know, editing the tour video, I say it all the time. I didn't even notice her. Didn't notice her. Damn. And it happens all the time. You can't see the trees through the forest.
I know.
You know, it's you get this, you know, this not tunnel vision, but you get this panoramic vision, and you're just trying to absorb too much too quickly instead of just taking it all in and, you know, slowly and bits by bits. I mean, watching this video right now, I mean, look at these women.
And I'll tell you, it's not easy to move around, and it's hard work, actually. If you do it correctly, you should be just dead tired and just exhausted by the end of that social, if you did it right. Because that means that you were really working, you were going from table to table, you were talking to everybody, you were getting contact information from the few women. And I'll say few because it probably is just going to be a few that you're really interested in and where you feel there's a mutual chemistry. And that's, guys, because some guys might say, well, John, if you can't see all the women, then why do you invite so many women? I had that the other day, right? And the reason for that is that there are only going to be a few women out of all those women that there is going to be a mutual connection with, right? And so by having these kind of events, it gives everyone, both the women and the men, an opportunity, albeit very quickly, but an opportunity just to make initial contact to see if there's any chemistry. That's all this is about. Is there chemistry or not? Get phone number,
You're
make
not having
date.
your date there and then.
No.
That date's going to come afterwards.
No,
Yeah.
and it works, guys, because I know, because it worked for me. And I know, and it will work for Joe. So, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, it doesn't work for me at the socials because I'm working.
Joe's working, and Joe's doing a great job. He really is. All right. Sean wants to know, do the women in Ukraine like American guys? What do you think?
Yes. But I will go one step back. I mean, we all seen this, okay, all overseas, is that one American guy that's a little bit too loud, a little bit too obnoxious.
Ugly American?
The ugly American. Don't be the ugly American, okay? These women get enough, I won't say alcoholics, but they'll get enough, you know, of the drinking from their own men. They don't need it from us, guys. They really don't.
So, Joe, would it be fair to say, when a question like this, the women in Ukraine like American guys, would it be fair to say that the women in Ukraine are looking for the right guy, whether or not it's American, Australian, Canadian? Does it matter that much?
I don't think it
the women?
matters to them if when I'm back here and I tell people what I do, you know, with the agency and stuff, I hate it when I hear, oh, these women just want a green card. That's the furthest thing, because then I explain, then how do you explain then these women have met a guy, one man after another, they had their chance to just put their hooks into that one guy just to get over here. They could have done that right from the beginning. Right. And they don't, because like you just said, they're waiting for the right guy. Yeah. Not for any guy, the right guy. And if that's an American, it's an American. If it's from somebody from England, that's going to be somebody from England. You just got to be the right guy.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what they're looking for. I mean, that's what my wife said. I mean, you know, I could have been from Mars. It wouldn't have mattered. You know, once we had that connection, that was it. It wasn't like she was just trying to get to America, right? And that's not what these women are trying to do. They're not escaping anything. So,
No, it's, you know.
Okay. Ernie says, as it is said, your attitude determines your altitude. That's a great saying.
Yeah,
and I like
it
that.
is.
And that's great. Totally agree. Attitude is everything, especially at these socials. You walk in there and you start going up to the women and complaining that, you know, oh, well, my hotel isn't this or that, or the flight over here really sucked because I had to wear a mask the whole time. And you just start complaining, and that's how you're talking. The women are going to start getting this glazed over look in their eyes like,
I didn't come here just to hear this.
okay, why are you sitting there complaining to me? But you'd be surprised how many guys will do that. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. What you want to do really is go in there, have a smile on your face, feel comfortable, go up and start asking the women questions, because people love it when you talk about them, right? So don't sit there and talk about yourself forever. Talk about them. Ask them why they're here. Well, what are you really looking for? Is it really that hard to find a man in the Ukraine? What's going on? Do those kind of questions, or whatever you want to do, but don't fixate on yourself. Even positive at the first. You want to talk about them. And then they'll begin to like you more. That's how it works.
So true.
All right.
Yes.
Brian says, has the 2022 schedule come out yet? I saw it come across my desk. I have to look at it and give it some final revisions, I think. But it's going to be an interesting schedule this time. There's going to be something a little new in there. That
I don't even
never
know.
gone before. So keep your eyes out for that.
Sound like Star Trek.
Yes. It's a bold new, yeah, whatever. McKissick wants to say the tour to Colombia costs about $2,500, right? Yeah, give or take, depending on how long you're going to go for. This includes the social, the lodging, but not the flight, correct? Correct. If that included the flight too, this would be the best deal on earth, which it already is, but it would be the bester deal on earth, but no. It does not include the flight, but does include pretty much everything else, and it's an amazing deal. Melvin says, awful hearing about Richard. Seems like he was a great guy. Prayers and condolences to his family. Richard.
Hey, Melvin. I haven't seen Melvin in a long time.
Yeah, you know Melvin?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Richard, he really was a great guy. Yeah, I don't know. I still, it's hard to comprehend that he's no longer with us right now. It's just really strange. Mark says the same thing. I'm so sorry to hear that Richard passed away. Yeah.
I like this one.
Yeah, well, let's see. So Sean says, women are not as visual as us men. Not saying you can look like crap, but I've seen some quite unattractive guys with some super attractive women. Didn't know how their wallet looked like, though. So talk about that, Joe. I mean, what do you think women are really looking for? Is it just the money? Is that what they're going after? I mean,
of course, women are looking for security,
right?
You know, but they're also looking for communication, affection. You know, of course, we men are more visual creatures. You know, we go on what we see more so than emotions. But you know, the one thing about these Ukrainian women is I love their femininity. I love how they still have those, you know, family traditional values, and they want to take care of their man. You know, they want to do all these things that what we men want.
Right.
You know, they like the physical touch, guys. They do. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to hear any guy coming up to me after the first date and say, well, I tried to kiss her. She wouldn't let me kiss her. Okay? I'm sure you've been on a lot of dates here in America that have done the same thing. Okay? Not everyone's going to kiss you on the first date.
No. And it's not really a culture thing. It's a woman thing, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on their comfort level, how they are, their mores, their... yeah, it just depends on them, really. So it's not, just because of Ukraine. No, I mean, a woman could kiss you on the first date. It might take 2 or 3 days. She may never want to kiss you, okay? I mean, it just really depends. Again, these are real people. Everyone's a little bit different. Just because they're in the Ukraine doesn't mean they're all exactly the same. Gary wants to know, I was wondering why there's not a way to create 2 hot lists. I'm considering 2 different locations, and it's difficult to work through a mixed up single list. Please consider this feature. We are, Gary. We are. I just talked to somebody today about the hot list and how we want to at least be able to allow you guys to search, to sort it, either by country or by ID number, things like that. And we're working on that. You'd be surprised sometimes how hard it is to do what you would think would be the simplest thing in the world because of the complexity of some of these databases and whatnot. But we're going to work on that. We're going to get it there. Okay. But thank you so much for being there with us. All right. Let me keep going here. Gerald says, patiently waiting on that 2021 schedule. Well, it's up, the 2021 schedule. I think you meant the 2022 schedule, but that's coming, Gerald. It is.
I was going to say, boy, you haven't put that up
yeah,
yet?
we got that 2021
What are you waiting
schedule.
on?
Well, we're getting that 2020. It'll be up, I'm hoping, by the end of this week, but we have to, there's a lot of things to check and everything before we put it up, because as soon as we put it up, people start making plans, and then you don't want to change it later, so we're making sure it's right. And with everything that's been going on with the pandemic and everything, oh my gosh, I mean, you can't imagine the logistics nightmares that we've been going through to trying to deal with all this. Chris says, I don't like being in limbo. My passport got kicked back at the beginning of July. I had my flight booked for Costa Rica at the end of September. Might not have the passport back in time for the social. Yeah, Chris, I get that. That sucks. And the passports are tough right now.
I'm hearing that it's taking months.
Yeah, it really is. So if you guys have any issues with your passport, get it in soon, way before you need it, because it is taking quite some time.
What was that, Joe?
Oh, we'll get there. I gotta get back up here. Hold on. I think Melbourne, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, just Melvin says, just goes to show that nothing is ever promised to any of us. When you get an opportunity to do something special, you need to act on it as soon as possible, because you never know what the future holds. You don't. I mean, Richard, I'm sure, he was he was on the Wednesday show that we did here just recently with Ron and everyone, right? And he was just talking about how great things were going, how he's trying to get back to the U.S. and that kind of stuff. He was just discussing that. Had all these plans, and now he's just not with us any longer. So you're absolutely right. You have to have that kind of frame of mind that life is short, and you have to take advantage of the opportunities when they come and live your life.
And women love confidence, guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
So Mark says, John, what happens if a woman really likes you and doesn't want you to move? How do you explain it to her? So if you meet someone at the social and she doesn't want you to go, I think, do you mean move from the table? I mean, let's take two different things. First, let's talk about the social. So you go to a table, she really likes you, and she doesn't want you to move. What do you do?
There's one thing we always tell the guys. This is your tour. We're not going to tell you what you should do. Sure. We're just going to give you suggestions. We're going to give you our experience, that these are the kind of things that you got to watch out for. Okay. If you want to stay at a table, just one table for 4 hours, I would strongly suggest that you don't do that, that you take the woman out of there. Just say, hey, then if you want to stay together, how about if we go next door? There's a nice restaurant there. We can get a bite to eat. I'm hungry. How about you? Okay? Take her out of there, because you're going to be preoccupied, because there's so many other things going on there, and if you want that one-on-one interaction, then take her somewhere else. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, and I agree with Joe that this is your tour, and you can do whatever you like to do, and if that's what you choose to do because you really feel like she really likes you and you want to get to know her right now and then, even though there's another 200 women all around you, then you can do that.
That's on the low side.
That's on the low side. But I would say, a little contrary to what Joe's saying, I would say that you're blowing a golden opportunity to meet maybe your soulmate. And I tell you, this happens. I was in
happens all the time.
Thailand, right? And this guy had the number one on his list, went in there, met her, came out of that social, like, oh my God, John, this is great. I can't believe it. He was shaking. I mean, he was so happy. But he decided, to his credit, to go to the next social.
Oh, okay.
And he went to the next, I'm just going to go. I mean, I'm just going to go because I paid for it. I'm going to go. He met another woman at that social that knocked his socks off. Everything in common, and he was so just confused and conflicted about what to do because he was dating both of them now for the next few days, right? And in the end, he proposed to the second one.
To the second one.
Not the first one. Okay. If he would have just totally blown everything off and stayed with the first one, who
I'm
knows
not,
what would happen?
I'm not saying totally blow it, but I'm saying if you're that hell bent on staying with this girl, then definitely take her out.
No, I think Joseph Ice is good, and to that, if you're going to do that, don't stay in the social.
Yeah.
But here's what you say to her. I think, and again, this is only advice, like Joe says. We can only give you that. But what I would say to her is, look, we're at this AFA thing, this social, and I know there's other guys that want to meet you. I would really like to get to know you later. I hate to leave, but they tell me I got to leave so you can meet some of the other guys. Excuse me. It's not COVID, don't worry.
I hope not.
Meet the... yes, I'm sitting right next to you. I hope Tanya's not watching. I'm going to get in trouble.
You're not going home.
Meet the other guys, and the other guys want to meet you, and so I have to move. Of course, there's no one that you're going to meet that's nicer than me, and I'd love to go out with you, and let's give me your phone number, you do all that, right? And then you go. And you start meeting other people, and she'll meet other guys. And you know what? If that's meant to be, it's going to be. I don't care if she meets 10,000 other men, you meet 10,000 other women. If there's a strong chemistry between you two, it's going to happen.
That's right.
And so, you have to understand that. You can't just put someone in a cage and lock her up and hide her from everybody else, right? And that's what some guys try to do, I think, and I think that's a mistake. I just do.
You nailed it right there. You really did.
Oh, and then the city. So now let's say, okay, you met someone you really like, she likes you, but now you got to go to another city. And now that's not even a problem in the Asian or Latin tours because it's all in one city anyway, right? Mm-hmm. The only time that could arise now is with the Ukraine tours, and really now there's only 2 cities that we go to. So it's not that big of a deal. And what would you say to that?
Well, yeah. So we have to go on to the next city. I let them know that, hey, listen, I've been doing this for 9 years. I've been over here 26 times. All right, trust me when I tell you, you need to do this for your own good to go on to that next city. All right, and if you need to, you can blame it on us that we're making you go.
That you paid for the tour, that is part of your tour, you're
yes.
going to go, just because, you're interested in seeing all these different things anyway, but you're going to stay in touch with her because you guys have the luxury that we never had. You've got Viber, you can video chat, you can do all this stuff back and forth. And you know what? If you do that, chances of it working out with that woman are probably better than if you changed all your plans and said, okay, I'm yours now, I'm going to stay here, and I'm not going to do anything I was going to do, and all of a sudden you both realize that, oh my God, there's a lot of pressure on this new relationship all of a sudden, whereas if you go, now it's a little bit interesting, like, oh, did you go to the social, did you meet anyone else? No, I still want to see you, so it's this dating thing that's going on, but if you just surrender, waved her white flag and say, no, this is it, I'm staying here with you, I don't want to meet anyone else.
And you show them that you have value too. I mean,
fast.
when you're going to I've got to go on to the next tour. I paid for the whole thing. They want me to go, and you go on. And she asked you, well, did you go to the social? Yeah, because it's part of the tour. I had to go to the social, But don't worry, I'm still coming back for you,
Absolutely.
It's you can't allow yourself to actually to show her that, yeah, I'm going to, like you just said, I'm going to change all my plans. I'm going to devalue myself and actually come, and just stay here with you. No, I know that I need to go to this next city, because this is part of the tour. This is what AFA, offers. This is what I paid for, and I'm coming back.
Absolutely.
And like you just said, if the connection is that strong, then she'll be okay when you come back.
And you tell her that. You say, look, we have a wonderful chemistry. I really want to get know you better, and I'm excited for that opportunity. But I came on this tour, and I have a commitment to do this, so I'm going to do it. But I want to get you know better. And if she totally freaks out and flips out on you, that might be a good sign, too. Then you dodged a bullet. So,
you dodged a bullet then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the good questions, guys. I mean, these are all really good questions. Ernie says, and he's talking about one of my great quotes there from Mark Twain, 10 years from now, you will only regret the things you didn't do. Yeah, I know, everybody makes fun of me on that. But you know what? It's true.
True, yes.
Actually, it's 20 years from now, not 10 years from now. But 20 years from now, you'll regret the things that you didn't do much more than the things you did do.
That's right.
Because it's easy to do something, didn't work, okay, you don't really regret it. Okay, I shouldn't have done that, but I did it. But those things that path never taken, those things you didn't do, those are the ones that haunt you.
I should have invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago. I'd be mega rich now.
But you're making up for it. You're going to be good.
Yes, this is true.
Leo says, yes, John, it's been a long time since I've attended my first time with AFA at Hollywood Nights Club, AFA Socials. Ah, yes, St. Petersburg. And you met your wife? Yeah. I remember Leo, this is another guy with a good attitude. You're going to like Leo. I mean, he's always smiling, happy. At least he was way back then, and I'm sure he still is. And he's just got a happy-go-lucky air about him, and he's just a really nice guy, and he'll do well. Leo's a good guy. All right, Chet says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. David says, what is the current price we want to date the translator? That just went up $5,000. And if it's an office manager, $10,000. Where do we get to the $1 million?
That's for me.
Oh, yeah. If you want to date Joe, that's really big bucks.
$1 million bucks right there.
But you can do it for $1 million. Joe will do it.
Guys, no, there is no problem with dating the translator. I know some of the translators don't like it because it's business.
Or they're married.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be, they shouldn't even.
So, I mean, look, first of all, you have to decide whether, you have to ask probably one of the, Joe or one of the managers there, like if a translator is even in play, available, right? Like wants to date anyone, right? You need to know for that first. And then whether she wants to date you or not, it's going to be totally up to her. I mean, we have had many translators over the years meet and marry you guys.
My friend Brett, you're probably watching, he married his translator.
Did he marry his translator?
Yeah, he actually called me. He called me and said, hey, Joe, just want to know, is it okay we date the translators? And I go, for you, Brett, okay, who is it first? And he told me, and yeah, them now married, living in Pennsylvania.
But here's a little tip. If you're going to date a translator, then just date her. And if she charges you for translation, no. I've heard of this before. If she, in any way, shape, or form, charges you to be on the date because she's translating for herself or whatever, no.
Nah, that's not
never do that.
No.
And yeah, so no. So if it's really a pure, I'm going to date my translator and everything's really kosher and cool, okay, fine. But if you date her, at the end of the day, she wants $200 because you were with her for that minute. No, don't do that.
Oh. I want to hear about it.
Anything can happen.
Oh,
so you
my God.
Chris says, love this insight from John and Joe. Yeah, well, there's something for you. All right. Chet says, I like hearing Joe's perspective that's closer to a guy's client's experience. John's great, but it's good to have the perspective Joe brings. I agree with you, Chet.
Oh, thanks, Chet.
Joe's single. I'm married. So obviously my view has been totally just messed up because I'm married. With Joe, he's single. So I think, maybe a little bit more relatable. No, I think that's good.
Yes.
And then when we have Dina on and Anna on, you get those perspectives from the women themselves. I think those are good too. I think Chet brings up a really good point here, actually. I think it's really good to take advice and take perspectives from different people, have different sources, and then put it all together, and then you make up your own mind, right? Don't listen to just one person, whether it's anything, right? I mean, if you're so myopic in your information, then you're really not getting the clear picture. I'll say something, right? Joe, you saw it tonight. We had some differing ideas on what to do, what not to do. That's fine. I mean, no one's right or wrong. Well, I'm right, but that's no one's right. But no one's right or wrong. It's just how it goes. These shows are fun. All right. Ryan says, some of the...
I'm surprised you didn't say I'm kidding, but it's true.
Well, they know already.
Yes.
Okay. Some of the hotels in Ukraine don't have reliable hot water. That's what Ryan says. Well, maybe that's possible. I don't know. You know too much?
There's only one hotel where I noted, and that's the Palazzo in Poltava.
In Poltava?
Yeah, you'll get hot water, but if your next door neighbor turns on their hot water, yours will go a little chilly for a second, like a split second.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But I
don't
love
remember
that hotel.
I don't recall having a problem with hot water.
No,
much in any
other than that,
hotels.
no.
Yeah, we use pretty good hotels.
Yes.
So, all right. Let's see here.
I love that hotel.
Which one?
Palazzo.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's nice.
man, I love that place.
So Patrick says, real talk, I'm bringing my own toilet paper too next trip. Pro tips from Joe. Oh my God! Now everybody's going to start packing their own toilet paper. That's great. Okay, well, you never know. I mean, sometimes it's very, very valuable, that toilet paper, as we just found out during the pandemic. So it's always good to have some.
I noticed one roll lasts me the whole tour.
One roll for the whole tour.
For the whole tour.
Jeez, yeah, you're spirit. Well, you like a
Well, I'm always
2-square
busy,
guy,
too.
4-square. That's it.
I'm usually always busy
I can't
too.
believe we're
so-
talking about this. Okay, we're going on. No more toilet paper talk out there, people. EC says, for the upcoming tours to Kyiv in September and November, will the socials be at the Canadian Club again? Also, can you please explain how the executive plan works? And is it better than attending the socials? Okay. No, we're not going to be at the Canadian Club.
Yeah, we're at. What was the name? I forget the name of the place.
But it's
Used
different.
it the first time this last social, and it went off very well. I mean, if you watch some of the video, you'll see how spacious it is. A lot of room.
And because of COVID, that's one of the reasons we wanted to do that, to spread people out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also, can you please explain? Well, the executive plan.
There it is right there.
Really, yeah, nice big venue. The executive plan, we just don't have enough time to go into it right now, but if you go to the website, loveme.com, click on executive plan, you'll see it there and you can read about it. It's a much more personalized, more broad approach to this whole thing than the group tours. Group tours are wonderful, but one of the things the executive plan does allow for is more of a geographical reach than what the group tour or the clubs do, because those are pretty much city specific or maybe 2 cities specific. Whereas with the executive, we don't care where she lives. We're looking the whole world over, basically, as far as our database is concerned. And then there's just more work done before you go over. But to get into all the details, it'd take me like 40 minutes. We just don't have that much time right now.
Okay, maybe I should do an executive.
You could do an executive. Work with Tanya. Yeah, that'd be fun. Where am I? Yeah, bring my own toilet paper. Got that for the computers. How is the Dave? Hey, Dave, how you doing? Glad to hear from you. How is the January 2022 schedule looking like? It's coming. Supposedly it's final, but I've got to look at it a little bit more here before it goes up. Are we still going to do a group tour in late January? Yes. I love that group tour in late January. I try to go on that if I can get out of here. So that's a great one because it's snowing. And I like to see snow because I'm from Phoenix. Some guys are afraid to go when it's cold. Like Joe, I don't think he'll go over there in February, but it doesn't bother me. Chet says, counting down 75 days until I'm on a Euro Club trip to Zaporozhye. Glad to hear more guys are doing the Euro Club this fall, too. Well, I know Joe's like that, right?
I'm actually going to Zaporozhye just because I'm going over a week before the tour next month, and I'll be going over to Zaporozhye for a couple of days.
Very nice.
Yes,
Very
yes,
nice.
Yes.
So,
I like Zaporozhye. It has my favorite vodka factory, Otasa.
I know you're a huge fan of Nep and Zap.
Nep and Zap. Yeah, I love those. Yeah, those are my 2 favorite cities.
Yeah. So there's some input from you. Inside from Joe here. He really likes Nep. Why? Why do you like them?
They don't have the database as like a Kyiv, Odessa, but I feel more comfortable with the women. They just feel, more grounded, more down to earth. It's a small town, It's the path less traveled.
Okay.
Not too many people go there. You won't run into a foreigner every 5 seconds.
Okay.
So they're not really used to a lot of foreigners there. So America has not ruined that place.
Give us time. We will. All right.
I like
Chris
the history
says,
too of Dnipro. Yeah.
All right. Were you upset when they changed the name then? Or?
No, it's easier for me to pronounce.
There
now.
you go. Yeah. I know. I always tell guys, if you cannot pronounce the name, it used to be Dnipropetrovsk, and if you cannot pronounce that name, you can't go. That was like the litmus test. Either you pronounce it correctly or you don't go. Of course, my pronunciation is not great.
Dnipropetrovsk, yes.
Chris wants to know how late before I have to reschedule the Costa Rica tour, since I'm waiting my passport. I might not have it by the time of the tour. We'll work with you on the passport thing, Chris. But normally we like to have, I believe if you look at the site, it's like you have to give us notice. I think it's 15 days before to avoid any kind of cancellation fees. But in this case, because you're waiting on your passport, call us and we'll work with you. One thing about us, most guys will find is that we're very reasonable when it comes to these kind of things compared to like a cruise ship company or some other travel company, because we do travel. This is all travel. We have to make your reservations at the hotel. We have to prepay that. We have to do all these things. Just like a regular travel company. I think a lot of guys lose sight of that. I mean, we do all that ourselves. We don't have it. It's not done by a third party, so we have to deal with that. But even given that, we still try to be extremely reasonable. I mean, I've dealt with some tour companies and some cruise ships and stuff, and they're pretty unforgiving when it comes to certain things. We're a lot better than that, because I want to be better than that. I want to treat people like I'd like to be treated. All right. Sean says, are the women in Ukraine open to living in another country? What do you think?
Yes, but of course there are logistics that you have to watch out for. If they have a child, the father has to sign off, things like that. But as far as the women go, I mean, I haven't run into too many women that have actually said that they don't want to move out of the country, but it's not their first option. I've spoken to many women who would rather me move over there.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
why not?
So,
and you know what? Even the ones that might say, "Well, I really am not too keen on moving out of the country," they meet Mr. Right. They meet the guy that just knocks their socks off. They'll move to Mars.
Yes,
they will if it's the right guy. You know, and I see that. I see that all the time. So yeah.
No, it's true.
Chad says, hey, John and Joe, how you doing this evening? You guys are great. Well, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
thanks.
from Oregon. Question for you. How many dates realistically can a person set up for the next day after a social? Possibly 2 or 3? How do ladies feel about this, knowing that the men are here to meet and possibly set up dates with multiple women? Well, they're setting up dates with multiple men, too. Keep that in mind. So,
Dina and I had this kind of as a poll question. How many women can you date in a day? What's comfortable for you?
So what was
and
the consensus?
The consensus was 2.
2?
That's comfortable.
Okay.
I've done 3 before, and it felt like I ran a marathon. It's tiring, you know, because you don't... Even though it's a different woman, you know you're not sounding, just talking about the same things as the last time. But to you, you are. You're saying the same things over and over again. So you're trying to think of new ways to say it, new things to say, and it's draining, emotionally draining.
So Joe, when you're on the date, because granted, it's been 24 years since I've been on a date. Okay, so I understand where the guys are. Yeah, well,
dating
no,
is
it's
different.
been wonderful. I'm glad I'm on a date. I know Time's watching. It's wonderful.
No,
wonderful.
I mean, when you take her on a date, I'm
we
sure
go
she'd
on dates all
enjoy
the
that.
time, but it's a little different than being on a first date with someone, right?
Yes.
So my question to you is, and this goes into what Chad was saying, when you're on that, say, second date with a woman, are they questioning you about, well, did you have many dates today? Are you going out with lots of women? I mean, are you getting that a lot?
I'm asked that. Do you? I don't ask. I'm not asked. Are you dating many? I've been asked. Hey, have you met other women? Yeah, I have. You know, I have value. I don't want this woman to think that no, you're the only one to say yes, thank you.
Okay. Right.
You know, have value in yourself, guys. I mean, yes, you have gone on other dates. You don't have to brag about it. If she's asking you that, don't lie to her. Say, no, I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I've met other Ukrainian women since I've been here.
Because this is dating, right?
This is what we're here, yeah.
Yeah, we're dating. So
Yes.
yeah, I've been on other dates because that's why I came. I wanted to try to
Exactly.
meet my soulmate, and you got to go through the process.
You got to go through the
And
process.
you're right. What you just said, that you have value, makes a lot of sense, guys. You should listen to what he just said. That was really good, Joe. Where's the bell? Ding, ding. I think Joe should get a ding or two. Where's the bell? We don't even have a bell. That's a knock. That is not a bell. We should have a bell. You know, the budget around here sucks. Someone needs to talk to someone
Well,
about
somebody
something.
brought in new chairs today.
Oh, we got new
gotta-
chairs.
Yeah, you said we can't. I'm sure.
Ding,
this
ding,
might-
ding. I think Joe gets a star for that one because, yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, okay, enough sound effects. Thank you, people. Hi, those guys.
But it's true, you know. I mean,
Value.
some guys, they pause and they think, oh, if I say yes, she might think bad of me. No, she isn't going to think bad of you.
It's the opposite almost, isn't it?
Yes, I've gone on. Yeah, I've met some great Ukrainian women since I've been here.
A woman doesn't want to date you if no other woman wants to date you. But if you are attracted to other women, guess what? you're going to be more attracted to that woman because she's like, wow, there must
Exactly.
be something with you because everybody else wants to date you, so I'm glad I'm here. As opposed to, no, I haven't seen anybody
Yeah, I
else. I
haven't
can't
seen
get a
anybody
date,
else.
but at least I'm with you.
At least I'm
Everyone's gonna be
with
like,
you.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Think about that, guys. These kind of things matter. And we had a gentleman on the day. I was talking to someone that was there, and I mean on the tour, and he was having issues like that. And he was like, God, I wish you guys had a school that could teach us all this before we go on the tour. This is kind of what we're doing on these shows. If you watch these shows, you get this kind of advice from people like Joe and others, and it's great advice. All right, that's really good. I like that, Joe. All right. We did that. Doug says, how does the European individual club tour work, and what's included in the tour? So the individual Euro club,
Well, I don't know how much it is now. Yeah.
No, what's included? So,
Well, it's 7 days, right?
right. Well, it could be 7, 10, or 14 days. It's $12.95 for the 7 day.
Okay.
And you get what? You get up
You
to
get
3
3
introductions
days.
a day, which Joe says is pretty much max. If you do 3, you're pretty much exhausted, which I tend to agree. I think 3. I've had guys that have done 5 or 6. I'm sure you've seen guys that have done 5 or 6.
I've spoken to guys, and most of them have told me, I've tried 3 per day. After the 3rd day, I had to tell my assistant, knock it down to 2,
Yeah.
because or I need a day off, because it's
Especially if you want to do a 2nd or 3rd date with someone, then you got to throw that in.
you gotta allow time for that. It's I know a lot of guys are out there watching right now thinking, 3 days, oh, man, put me in, coach.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I could tell you a story. I can't tell the stories now. I'll get in trouble. But one of these days, if I'm on the train with you guys going from Kyiv to Odessa, I can tell you some of these guys. I mean, it's amazing how many dates they've been able to do. But
Oh yes, yeah. But I knew one that did 7 in one day.
yeah.
7
It's
days.
amazing. So with the club, we try to do up to 3 a day, and like Joe says, most guys will probably do 1 or 2 a day, and they're fine with that. Because the club isn't, and it's for 7 days. So if you do the math, 7 times 3, well, it's 21 days. I should get to, no, it's not how it works. We do up to 3 a day. It depends on your schedule, depends on the women you want to meet schedule, depends on a lot of different things. We're trying hard. I'd say the average number of actual dates on a club tour is about 12, maybe 13, right? Which for 7 days
That's
makes
good.
about
Yeah,
sense, right?
it does.
Because you're going on 2nd and 3rd dates. I'm talking
Yeah.
about unique first dates. And that is probably pretty comfortable, and that's great. Go to a personalized matchmaker in your city and tell her, and one of those, I'm talking about a personalized matchmaker, which you get with us, and tell her you want 12 or 13 dates and see what they want to charge. And believe me, it's going to be way more than what we do.
No, yes.
All right. Hold on. Where are we? Oh, there we are. Sorry.
We're in the studio.
I don't do this very often.
We're in the studio.
Be a genuine. Chris says, be a genuine gentleman, guys, and you will find the woman of your dreams. And I really agree with that. If you're just a nice guy and you're not yelling and screaming at staff or women and, looking for problems everywhere, you'll be fine.
And these they're watching how you treat the waitresses.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other women. Because we had this problem in Colombia. We had a gentleman, who was going to the tables, and he was being rude to the other women at the table. Would only give any of his attention to the
contact
one
to the
woman.
one, yes.
Right? And that was it. And would not do any. And guess what? Women notice that. And
Yes.
if you're treating other women rudely, they're not going to like that. Especially if one of those other women happen to be their friends. And they're sitting at a table, they're
and
probably
more
sitting with a
likely
friend.
is, yes.
Yeah. Don't do that, guys. You nice to everybody. Did you ever see that movie where they were crashing wedding crashers?
Wedding crashes, yeah.
Notice what they did at that wedding. They would dance with the old lady. They would dance with the little kids, right? And they'd make sure the woman they liked saw them doing that. And then they went to the woman.
That's right.
Did you remember that?
Oh,
scene?
yeah. Yep.
And that, to me, I noticed that. I'm like, yeah, I see what they're doing. I mean, it's obvious, right? But we don't think of it in those terms. That's my little. Where's my ding ding? I should get a ding ding.
You
for
get it.
that
You
one.
should get a ding
I'm
ding.
not going to get. They won't give me a
See
ding.
if I
You
have
get
it.
the ding. Oh, there's something else nice. Okay.
That was a key fall.
That was a key fall. Boy, we got to up the budget. We need to talk with management.
We are.
All right. Keep going here. Melvin says, while I love Anna and Dina on the webcast, it's great seeing John and Joe together. Lots of experience between those two. Well, thank you, Melvin. We're having fun, I think. I'm having
Thanks.
fun. How about Joe? But I'm having fun.
I am.
Michael says, I work in post office and passport appointments are completely booked. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because people want to get the heck out.
You know, what you could do, and I'm sure Michael would probably agree, is you can go online. There are some like Passport Express, some of these places that can help expedite it, and they have a little bit more leeway to get that done. You'll pay more, but you might want to go that route instead of just going to the post office. But because it says if one mails something to Ukraine, must the packaging be written in Cyrillic or can one use Roman lettering? It's better if you can print it out in Cyrillic and do both. Put it in both English, Roman lettering, and Cyrillic. That will help. But if it's just in Roman lettering, I think it'll get there. But if you can do both, I've done that before way back in the day when we used to mail stuff, and I did both, Cyrillic and Roman lettering. What's the cost of a Costa Rica tour in? What city is the Costa Rica tour in? San Jose?
San Jose, yeah.
San Jose. Bradford says, hi, John and Joe. Richard has my highest respect and admiration for the service to his country. Yes, his attitude is my example. It appears that Asia is locked down hard. What is the situation report on the Shenzhen tour for 2021? And will there be a Thailand tour this year? I'm not hearing good news from my intel sources on the ground. Well, Bradford, first of all, thank you so much for remembering Richard and yeah, his service to the country too. That's something we didn't even talk about, but yeah, he was in combat actually. He's an amazing guy. He really is. There's a lot to him. Yeah, as far as Asia goes, Shenzhen tour for 2021, I'd be worried about Shenzhen tour for 2022 right now, actually.
Really?
2021 is not going to happen. I mean, I think we have one up there for like November. I don't see that happening in my wildest dreams, especially since cases are going up like crazy again everywhere, right? I mean, there's really starting all over again, so it's not going to happen. And Thailand's not going to happen this year either. What you're hearing from your sources on the ground are probably true. That it's just not good for Asia. And Asia is very, very, very careful. Some of these other countries like Colombia are opening up without restrictions. You can go into Colombia, you don't need a test, you don't need a vaccination card, you don't need anything right now. To get out back to the United States, you need a test.
The test, yeah.
Yeah, but Asia, no. Even Russia, you can't get into right now. Very difficult. Mark says, John was talking about the table at a social. What happens if a woman really likes you and doesn't want you to move? Well, we talked about that, Mark. I just said, hey, you know, it's your social too, and I know you have to meet these other guys because that's what AFA says. I hate having to go. I know I'm the best, but you know what? Meet them, and then, yeah, we'll talk. Something like that. I don't know. You be funny. You make fun, you know. I'm going to go now. I mean, we don't want to be serious like that. We want to have fun, right? Women like that.
Keep it fun.
Yeah, if
That's
you're
right.
smiling and you're having fun, it's fun. You walk up to that table in Russia or Ukraine, and there's 5 or 6 women there, and you sit down, and if you say something like, Privet, Koktala, they're all going to look at you like you're nuts, because that's a very informal greeting that you only do among friends usually, right? And you just walked in there, and you're just like, Privet, Koktala.
Privet,
They're going to say,
yes.
what? And they're going to smile, they're going to laugh. You know, it's just fun. That's
Basically, you just said, hello, how are you?
Yeah, that's all I said, but it's a very, it's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Right? Privet, Koktala, a doble, or something like that. If you're in Ukraine, they do the doble thing. But instead of doble večer, see, that's very formal. Mm-hmm. And that's what they would expect. Well, they don't expect you to speak their language anyway. But if you were to speak it, that's what they would expect you to say in that circumstance. But when you come in like that, boom, shields go down, a little bit of laughter, and that's what you want.
Well, if you're from the East Coast, you got to say it like, Koktala. That's how you got to say it.
Is that how it's done?
That's how it's done.
Oh, okay. Let's move on. So Bruce says, how do you know if you are going to have trouble with your passport? Also, you can still request a woman from your hot list to be at the social. Does someone let you know and point her out if she shows up? No. They're not going to, know who you invite on your hot list and point every woman that on your hot list out when we have 30 guys and 200 and some women, Bruce. That's just not going to happen. But Joe can tell you a little bit of how you can see if someone's there.
Yeah, if by chance, you tell me, hey, Joe, I've been writing this girl for 6 months. She's on my hot list. I was told that she's coming tonight. Can you just find out if she's here? I'll find out who the girl is from him. Go down, get the girl's name, and as long as it's not too crazy at the reception desk, because these girls are coming in and registering. So if it's later on, like halfway through the social, then I can go down and check, because you know, the girls have been registered and brought in, and I can just find out if she's there or not. It's, you know, it'll take me a little bit, but we can find out.
I mean, if it was something that was really special, I mean, you really had to meet this, and you knew she was there.
But that's why I said writing for a long time.
Right,
you know,
right. Then we'll do that. Or I've even done announcements. I'll do that very rarely, but I've done it.
The announcements,
and I don't like doing that because it throws off the whole. Everybody's got to stop. Maria, is there a Maria? Like,
you're double parked. You need to come out right now.
Some of the silly stuff we've done over the years. It's so fun. All right. Edward says, well, the first part, how do you know if you're going to have trouble with your passport? Right now, just understand, it takes longer than it normally does. So I would go with a company that expedites it.
I had mine expedited, and it still took almost 2 months.
Right. So, you got to be careful. Edward wants to know if AFA can update the list of approved restaurants in Kyiv. There are great restaurants near the hotel not on the list, and Mario's is closed, but it's on the list. Yeah, I'll have them update. They usually, I thought they were updating it, and they should be updating it. Same with Odessa. And one of the reasons we have a list of restaurants is for a little thing called the restaurant scam, which goes on in several countries. You know, Ukraine's not the only one where that happens. Yeah. But, you know, basically, you go in a restaurant and they just inflate the prices, you know, and sometimes even the person that brought you there might even be part of that, right? And then they come back at a cut or something. So we, over the years, have really tried to minimize things like that. And I think we do a great job. You know, some people will still complain, and yeah, can it happen? Sure.
And usually it's they didn't listen to us.
Yeah, usually.
You know, they're so infatuated by this woman is they'll be led by the nose to any restaurant that the girl says.
Right. We just had that happen with a guy that met a woman from Tinder, and he was from Australia.
That's right.
And he knew about us, but he was there again on his own, and he figured he'd do a Tinder date, and maybe sometimes you get a good date. But this one had other ideas and took him to a restaurant / club, where by the time they got done with ordering, she got done ordering what she ordered. The bill was $7,000. Dollars.
Not grivna.
Yeah. And he was forced to pay it because they got the security goons there. Well, you're here with her, you're responsible, blah, blah, blah. So he actually put out on his credit card. But he went to our office in Odessa, and although we had absolutely nothing to do with this, he had known about us, and he told the story to Anna, our office manager, and she took him to the police station. She spent her time helping to get this police report done, which if you've ever been to Odessa dealing with the police, maybe you would have better luck, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And they actually did it. Yeah, you're good hands with Joe. And they actually got the police report, so he was able to talk to his credit card company and get it reversed. But, you know, I don't know if Tinder would have helped him like that or not, but our office did.
Good luck getting someone.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm proud of our staff. I really am for the work that they do. You know, it's easy to criticize people, especially if it didn't go well for you. And that can happen from time to time. But for the most part, you guys are wonderful with your reviews of the staff and how hard they work for you and the time and energy they put in. And doing something like that was great, I thought. But I will have them update that. Bradford says, John, by the way, whatever happened to Bud? Bud, a couple years ago, went off to do other things that Bud always wanted to do, and he's still doing them. And Bud's a great guy. We love him, we miss him, and we wish him the best. Anthony says, why can't you marry the translator and allow her to work overseas? Why can't you marry? Yeah. Well, first of all, Anthony, I'm just joking. You can marry anybody you want, and we're not going to stop you from marrying a translator.
We're not.
So don't take this too seriously. But if you do marry the translator and you move over there and she stays there and she still wants to translate, that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's not me to say. It's up to you and her, right? This is your guys' life. She just works as a translator. We joke about it because it is a little bit inconvenient when we have to keep hiring new office managers and translators because you guys keep marrying them. So stop that. But yeah, that's always.
He secretly likes it.
Yeah, well, it's always. Yeah, I like it when people come together. That's true. Mark says, John, does that happen that an office manager will marry a tour manager? That an office manager will marry a tour client? You mean yes?
Oh, okay.
Tour manager? Yeah, well, that could happen too, I suppose. Leo says, John, because the city of Kherson has been eliminated, how will the tour be divided up per days in Odessa and Nikolaev? So, Leo, call me tomorrow on that because we don't have time. We're already way over, and I'll go over that with you. But
you'll have more days in Odessa and in Nikolaev.
Yeah. And
same amount of time, just more days in those two cities.
Absolutely. It'll be we'll do it the same way we just did this one, because the last one we just did was Odessa Nikolaev, and so we'll go over that with you though. Okay, and we are to Never Say Never says, John Joe, do y'all recommend coffee date on the first date?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It doesn't have to be a dinner date each and every time.
No.
Ooh, how many times can you eat in a day?
I know. Or it doesn't even have to be a food date. You can go walk in the park. You can,
Right.
One of the guys, here's an idea for you guys going to Kyiv. Right across the street from the hotel is the toilet museum. Now, this guy was taking his dates. Yes. You've been to the toilet museum?
No.
This guy's been taking his dates to the toilet museum. I'm like, really? You're taking your date? No, John, it's very interesting. All these different toilets from way back. Really?
The toilets that couldn't flush the paper.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, so you don't always have to go out to eat. I mean, there's dates where you just, hey, let's just walk down into the pedestrian place down there.
But definitely coffee dates, I recommend them all the time. Now, of course, if it's lunchtime or dinner time, you're probably going to want to have lunch or dinner.
Yeah. Chris says, this show is totally fun and informative. Thanks, John and Joe. Well, we try. It's got to be fun. Life's got to be fun, or why bother? I mean, what the hell? You're only here for a short time. McKissick says, if we get engaged to a non-English speaker, what methods do you suggest we use for her to learn English during the K-1 visa process? Rosetta Stone? Okay, so one thing, McKissick, is, first of all, be careful what you wish for. Because when there's an English barrier, you can escape some issues. When Tanya first came over, even though her English was pretty good, it wasn't, I could get away with saying, oh, no, honey, you misunderstood what I said. And it saved my butt. I can't tell you how many times it saved my butt. And she bought it for the first year or two. Now, forget about it. I'm done. I'm toast. But, so, how well do you want her to learn English is the question. Now, you can answer the question really, but...
There's actually there are many English schools over there, so you can set her up in one of the English learning schools, and it's a monthly fee. I'll tell you something. I've known quite a few guys who have met Ukrainian women and hardly spoke English, and by the time they got over to America, they could carry a conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
By doing those English lessons.
Absolutely.
They will dedicate themselves to learning English because they don't want to be left out in the cold. They don't want to not understand people. They want to be able to go to the store and communicate. So they'll learn it.
All right. I'm going to start going a little bit faster. You guys are asking great questions. I could do this all night, but I get in trouble, as you know, by the union. They get pissed off. These guys have to work hard over here. And then Joe, I don't even want to show you his per hour rate, so this is getting really expensive to have Joe here because he's very special.
$2.95 is a lot.
All right, so we're going to move quickly here.
I don't even get gas money. Are you kidding me?
We have an NDA. You can't talk about these things at all.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yes, okay. Chuck says, please explain how the November 2021 Kyiv tour will work with the two socials. Will there be a Kyiv City tour and other events for the guys during the tour? What's the difference between the 7-day and 10-day tour other than the number of days? Well, that's a good question, Chuck. So really quick here, it's going to be just like our Asian and Latin tours that we do, and we've been doing for years and years. And we decided, hey, a lot of guys said they'd rather stay in one city for something. So even though the Ukraine really lends itself to going to two different cities, and there's different cultures in each city a lot of times and stuff, I think it's a great thing. But we're going to do this one in November and just see how you guys like it, and work with the feedback and everything. This will be just like our other tour cities in Latin America and Asia. So you'll get there and you'll have two socials, one on Friday night, one on Saturday night is the way it's going to go. And there'll be different women attending each night, right? Same guys. Mm-hmm. And so that way you'll get the socials out of the way very quickly, and then you'll use the rest of the time to go out on dates with everyone. And the only difference between the 7 and 10 or 14-day duration is the number of hotel nights and continued assistance from the staff in setting up new dates for you, right? Because everyone, whether you do the 7 or 10-day variant of that particular tour, gets the two socials up front. That's it. Only two socials for everybody. The rest of the time is hotel stays and office help with dating and everything.
Hospitality.
Yes. Because it says, does the Barranquilla tour include any beach activities?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I think they go to the beach and they they do beach things. I'm not sure exactly what they do.
Things.
I'm getting a little punchy. I need my drink. Where's my Mountain Dew? Yeah, I know that they do the city tour, and they did do an optional tour where they went to the beach and they did some stuff. I think they did a boat ride, all that kind of cool stuff. I know they do that in Cartagena.
Oh,
They take you to the island. You were there, right?
Oh,
They
I
did
love
the island
that.
deal.
That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
On the way back, that boat's just pounding. Isn't
Oh,
it? The way there wasn't so bad.
It
On the way
wasn't so
back, you
bad.
think you're going to die. And the captain does this before he starts. And wait, why is he doing that? Yeah, you know why about halfway
That
through.
water got chopped. Well,
Woo-hoo.
I was okay, but a few of the guys and the girls, they were losing the lunch they
You were in
just
the
had.
Navy. I mean, you're used to it. But never say never. Say any best months to go to the Ukraine? What do you think, Joe?
My favorite times is April and September because that's when I'm there.
It's when Joe's there is the time to go.
The weather's perfect. The weather is so nice.
I like the shoulder seasons like that, right? April and September, because he's right. The weather is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Summer can get, we experienced it with this last tour in July. It gets really hot
Mm.
for just a short period of time, and the AC over there is really not equipped for that, and they just don't worry about it because it's usually only 2 to 3 weeks. Now with global warming, that may change, but right now it's 2 or 3 weeks when it's really, really hot. We were there during those 2 or 3 weeks, and so it was not so comfortable for everybody
Yes.
in July. You go in September, and when Joe's going, and the weather's beautiful.
It's perfect.
It's kind of like New York weather in September. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. It's on the same latitude, basically. So yeah, that's I like February because it's damn cold, and I like that because I never get to experience that much here. But that's me. I'm kind of crazy. Yeah, cold. Edward says several ladies in Ukraine mentioned they can travel to Cancun without a visa, and there are direct flights from Kyiv.
Yes, they can. They can travel to Mexico without a visa.
Is that well? I think they get one, but they get it at the airport. It's like a
Yeah,
little
it's an
document you
entry
gotta do
visa.
that.
Yep.
Is that true, and is that a good or bad way to spend time with women we meet in Ukraine? I think it's a great way to spend women you meet in Ukraine, but meet them first. I just had a guy today who wanted to do that.
Yes.
Like, I'm just going to fly. Don't do that. That's not wise at all. We really, really discourage that. You need to go over and meet and make sure you have a really good chemistry because, you may think things are going pretty well, but when you go and you're alone in Cancun or someplace for a week,
You're not on their turf anymore.
yeah, and things can get really sideways. So you want to make sure before you go that the chemistry is good enough to where you can go away. There was no Seinfeld episode when they got him going to this bread and breakfast with somebody he just met, and it was miserable. And it was raining, and he's like, and she was, it was so, I don't know if you ever saw that, but it was so funny. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, that could happen with our guys because he's like counting the minutes to where this thing's going to be over. He's stuck for 3 days, and he's like, you want to do this? No. And he's like, oh, God, okay, this is going to be a long trip. So be careful.
No,
once
that
you're
should.
with-
Yeah, you should be well into that relationship before you suggest
Oh, yeah.
that.
Mark says, but you will learn a lot about someone when you travel. You learn a lot, how they treat the maids and what happens when the lobster is all gone. It's not on the menu anymore. Oh my God, I keep it. Do they freak out or they deal with it? Do they roll with the punches or not? And same with you. They learn about you because your mask comes down a little bit and they start seeing you.
Right, when they see how you throw your socks right there at the foot of the bed each and every.
I get yelled at that all the time. They get crumpled
I think
up.
it's a guy thing.
Yeah. John, Mark says, who would I have to pay if I went to Cebu the day before a tour starts? You could pay me. I don't know what you mean. Who would I have to pay if I went to Cebu the day before? Oh, you just let Michelle know you're going to be there a day early, and she'll just give you an extra night hotel, and you just pay her like you would pay, you just add it on to whatever you're paying for the tour. Gabe knows, John, I know you mentioned last week about having the 2022 schedule out, but are there any plans to have a tour this year during Christmas, New Year's Eve timeframe? Whatever you see on the schedule right now is it for 2021. We're trying to get through the tours we have now. We're not even thinking about adding any new ones to 2021. So no, there will be no new tours for 2021. Chris says, Joe is correct. 2 dates enough a day. Remember, guys, that's in 1 day. You do
right.
that at home? That's a good point, Chris. When was the last time at home you had 2 or 3 dates during the same day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some guys don't do that in a month or 2 or 3.
Isn't that the truth?
Ryan says, let the women know you are dating other women. Let them get competitive for a man just like it is here in the USA for a man trying to date women. Well, that's kind of how the socials are too, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, you don't have to tell them it's a competition. You just let them feel it.
Yeah, and you're always polite. You don't,
Yes.
like Joe says, you don't brag, you don't rub it
Yeah.
in. You just say, hey, this is dating. I'm here to date. And guess what, guys? You can't get upset when she dates other men because she has value too. And you both want to come together and have both having value, bringing value to the relationship, both of you. Absolutely. Shun says, Joe, that's a good strategy, but seems like Ukrainian women get offended if you keep dating other women. I know a guy who lost a girl he wanted to get married with just because he told her he kept dating.
Well, if he's already in a relationship, he shouldn't be dating anymore. I mean,
yeah, if he was going to marry her, if he
Yes.
was that far along where he knew that they were going to get married, and then he's still dating, there's a problem there. There's
That's
something
right.
wrong with that. But if he was just at the very beginning stages in dating and thought maybe at some future point he would marry her and she got upset, well, then she got upset.
She got upset,
That wasn't
yeah.
the right one. There
Right.
was not enough chemistry there to hold together. That's going to happen. Tom says, I appreciate the format tonight. Please do this more often. Well, thank you. Maybe they like us here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I didn't think I'd get a word in, actually.
You know, I seem to have this reputation of talking a lot. I don't know where that came from, but you know, whatever. Okay. Dave says, hey, John, your borscht is ready. Thank you, Dave. Yes, it probably is in tiny snack.
That's good.
Dave, you know,
That's good, Dave. I like that.
Okay. Is that, yeah, Dave's trying to get rid of me too. I know. But Dave, I'll tell you, the borscht is wonderful that Tanya does, but we went, and this is like one of the first times I've done this in 20 years. We went mushroom hunting. Russians loved mushroom hunt, right? And we went up north and we found these huge, we came back with so many mushrooms, it was amazing. And it was good. I thought I was going to die or go on some psychedelic trip or something, but I didn't die, and I don't think I've gone on the trip yet. But if you could, see, this is what I mean about cultures meshing. You know, I could care less about mushrooms all these years, and Tanya's kind of talked about it. She wasn't a huge enthusiast, but this time, it only happens for a few weeks, and because of all the rain we got, it was like it's never been like this before in Arizona. So we just went and I experienced it. It was amazing. I had fun. Okay, Joe
I'm going
thinks
to use
nuts.
that.
John, your borscht is ready. Yeah. Leave me alone. Robert says, hi, John, will you hold any virtual seminars later in the year? No, Robert, we're not going to do the virtual seminars because they're just no fun. They're just, most of you guys don't even like it. You're just watching kind of. We have to do them in person. And we will try to do an in-person one before the year is out, I hope, if this stupid COVID thing doesn't keep getting worse. Bajorn says, hey, guys, you plan any social tours for Mexico and Vietnam? Pay attention to the tour schedule when it comes up. That's all I'll say. Michael says, if someone is already in, let's say Ukraine, and would like to participate in one of your meetings, would that be possible? Normally, yes.
Social only.
Yeah, social only. Normally, yes, but lately we have not been able to do that because they've been all sold out, and with COVID and everything, we have to limit it really to the number of people. So we have not been taking social only clients, and I doubt we will in September or November in the Ukraine. So maybe next year, but I would not plan on trying to do a social only in September because I don't think we're going to be able to accommodate that, unfortunately. But Michael says, what would you guys say is the average percentage of Ukrainian women that can speak English? What do you think, Joe?
Oh, now I think it's higher now. Yeah, a lot higher from when I first started going. I would, of course, it depends on the city, but I would say easily 40%. Easily 40% of the women.
And when you
can
say
speak
depends
some-
on the city, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, when you go to a city like Kyiv, which is more metropolitan, they're more diverse. They have a lot more foreigners coming in. A lot of them have to speak English because of the foreigners coming in, as opposed to going a place like Sumy, Zaporozhye. You know, they don't really get the foreigners like Kyiv does or Odessa. So.
Yeah. And that's a good point, too, guys, to think about. That's why Joe likes, I think, one of the reasons he likes Zaporozhye and that, because it's off the beaten track a little bit, right?
Because they don't know what I'm saying.
Well, that's always good. All right, Sean says, how about this? This is going to be the last question tonight, guys, because the union, they're holding up signs and they're threatening to walk out. It's getting nasty in here.
Oh, Kurt just threw something.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that.
They're getting that. Look, we're way over time. We don't go this late because you're here. You talk so much. That's the problem. All right. Sean says, how well does writing letters to these women work?
So say it.
Yeah. I don't think you need to write a single letter to anyone before you go over, because I didn't. I met my wife at a social. I never knew she existed until the night of that social. Then I looked at her profile, and where she wrote that she loves to do housekeeping, which is a total lie, by the way. You got to be careful what they write in the.
I hope she's not watching this.
I'm already in post, so does it matter? In for a penny, in for a pound. Anyways, Yeah, so I don't think you have to write letters. If you do it with a plan and you do it judiciously, then I think that it can be beneficial and it can help you. You're going to go over in a month, and there's a few women you really like, and you send them a letter, hey, I'm going to be there in your city in a month, and I'd like to maybe meet you at a social or meet you individually. Are you going to be around? And see what she says. But to go back and forth for a year, 2 years, 7 years, like I was writing to one woman, this guy's blue today. I like this music. And you go back and forth. No. That's just, you're filling some other kind of void, but it's not really trying to go meet someone for a real, honest to God relationship, right? And so if I were you, I would, if you're going to do it very, very sparingly and do it with a plan, or just don't do it and go over and meet. I'd say half the guys that go, and maybe you'll back me up on this, but half the guys that go will write, half the guys that go that won't write, and they all have about the same success. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Yep. And you know what's funny about that is I tell people who are just getting into this that you even say, don't write. I mean, unless you're going over and then, write 1 or 2 letters that you're coming over, that you'd like to meet them. And a lot of people don't believe me. They say, oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that's his business. And no, he wants people to actually meet. He wants them to connect. He doesn't want to sit, he doesn't want Keyboy Romeos. He doesn't want that.
Yeah, I had someone tell me that we don't make any money really on the tours and stuff, and I got to let you know, guys, we do. We don't do them for free. We're a business. We have to make money. We want you to go on the tours, and it's great when you do because we can provide a great service for you, and we can keep the lights on and pay our people what we got to pay them, and it's a wonderful thing when you guys do that. And we want you to do that. So just go. You're gonna love it.
I think 2 slots left for
there's
Odessa.
Like 2 slots left. Get on it, and it'll be great. Let's see. Sean says, do the women there like a good steakhouse? I know I said this is the last one. There's 2 more. Joe, do they like a good steakhouse, or what do they like?
They love it. They love meat. Yes, they love steak.
Tanya does.
They don't get to do it very often because, depending on the steakhouse you go to, it could be a little pricey.
Right.
But oh yes, they do.
All right. And the last one, separated 15 months, still finalizing divorce doesn't meet AFA requirements. Call us and talk to us. There's some issues that can possibly be problematic with that. Better if you're single and you go over. But we'd have to talk about that with you. We've had guys in the past that have gone over that were legally separated, and we have to tell every woman that you're legally separated, and we have to be very clear about it.
The IMBRA.
Yes. Yeah, well, not just IMBRA, that's part of it, but part of it is just being really honest with everyone. And guys, full disclosure, disclose. And the more honest you are about what's going on, if you have a little something in your past, maybe not on the very first date, but you open up about these things and you let women know. You don't want some huge surprise. I had one guy years and years ago who brought a woman over here, failed to mention that he was really, really big on the nudist colony thing. He was this huge nudist enthusiast, right? And every weekend he'd go to this nudist colony. Well, she comes over, no idea, and all of a sudden he's dragging her off to the nudist colony. And she's like, I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. And he's like, oh no, this is the way of life. Well, it's the way of your life, but it's not for me.
Why
didn't you say that to
so
me before I came over? And
life?
that turned into a divorce. Okay? Don't do that. I mean, come on, that is a material fact. I would think, well, not much material with a nudist.
No, but it's an important fact. Material fact, yeah.
I thought that was, no, okay. Anyways, it was a material fact. But yeah, let the people know about that. Okay, now we're going way over. We're getting punchy, so we're going to end this. But I do want to circle back to Richard Faith again and just... I just want to say that I was really, really thankful for the time that I got to work with him and for the time I got to know him and for the inspiration that he gave to me because he did, even when I met him. I was inspired by him. And if you talk to Rana, because Rana worked with him quite a bit, Rana actually flew to the Philippines with him and helped him. Rana actually helped him meet the woman that he married.
Oh, wow.
And so she knew him quite well, and she always had wonderful things to say about him as well. Richard, may you rest in peace, and it was a pleasure to have been blessed to know you. So guys, if you do want to contribute anything to a memorial fund just to help with some final expenses, we did set up that GoFundMe account for him as well. And Nina and Dave's widow, again, want me to thank all of you for your support with her as well. I mean, it's tragic that these things are happening, but again, it's life.
It was a huge help to her. Her and the kids, big help.
All right. And Joe, I want to thank you for coming on. This was fun, and you brought up some amazing points tonight, and I guess I let you talk. So, yeah, fine.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No, you did great. I really appreciate that, and I know the guys out there appreciate that. And yeah, I know you guys back there that make this happen from the tech side. We're so sorry it went over, but you guys were amazing as always. Thank you so much.
I think they were expecting it with you on.
Yeah, I know, because I just keep talking. I know it's a problem I have. I'm going to therapy. It's going to get over one of these days. All right, guys. Next week you will have Dina and Anna back, I do believe. So, yeah, we'll be out of here. They'll be here. And Anna, I'm sure, will have many, many stories to tell of the tours that she just got done doing. And, yeah, that should be great. All right. So until then, guys, thank you so much.
Good night.